Uche watched in dismay. He was going to do something about beholding a woman first thing in the morning. This was the fourth beautiful woman to distract him today. "Hi," Star greeted very cautiously. "I know you hate it that I'm here, so cut the pretense," Angela retorted, holding the door for Star. She turned and whispered to Uche, "Good luck," and left. Angela closed the door and turned to Uche with a smile. She walked up to him and threw herself on him. Uche had to catch her to stop her from knocking him over. Now what? He thought. "When did you get back, honey?" Angela asked, giving him a long kiss. Uche managed to put her away from him. "May I remind you, Angela, this is a working environment." She smiled at him. "I know, but you're the boss." She smiled sweetly at him. "I was only showing you how much I've missed you. I came to buy you lunch." "It is hardly lunchtime." "I know, but I couldn't wait." "We can do brunch. Besides, we haven't talked about Eva's party coming up this night. What time are we going?" Uche suddenly became irritated, cursing his sister and the hazel-eyed witch for putting him in this mess. He wasn't in the mood for Angela's volatile temper, but there was no help for it. It was high time he ended this madness with Angela anyway. But 2 months ago, he had given in to her demands and had taken her out on one date. He thought then that they were both adults and could handle an affair. But it was unfortunate that that same night he had set his eyes on the hazel-eyed witch, and she bewitched him good and proper. The woman he had come to know as Mma. He had tried to fight this intrusion, this sudden yearning for a strange woman, but the fight was one he had finally accepted he was not going to win. The only right thing to do was to tell her so. He was going to buy her that lunch and quietly dismiss her. He looked up as he heard her speaking again. "And Uche, it's been 2 months since we started going steady. Now that your nosy sister is finally becoming busy with her own life, I think we should take our relationship to another level of commitment," she said, smiling boldly at him. Really, that was all he could say. "I am not going to allow you drop me at my house with a chaste kiss. I am coming home with you this night." "Angela, please," he chuckled and walked to the window. He needed to collect his thoughts. He knew he was treading on a sensitive ground then. He turned to face her. "I can't believe you came all the way here to let me know you are going to have your wicked way with me tonight." He smiled at her. "Way to go, Uche," he said to himself in disgust. You couldn't have given her a more blatant green light. "Normally, you should be the one demanding for this, Uche. What's wrong?" He heaved a sigh. "About that lunch, I am about ready to go." "No, we are not going anywhere till we trash this out. So tell me, is this another girl? I don't interest you enough, or what? I know what passion you are capable of, Uche. When you kiss me, I can feel the restraint you put on yourself. So tell me why I'm the one demanding this, and why you are being reluctant." Her eyes were blazing with anger. "You want the truth?" "Yes, there is another girl, and I'm taking her to the party this night." He wanted to kick himself so hard for being such a jerk, and he expected her to rant and rave like she used to, but she stared at him and smiled. Okay, that was a new one, Uche thought, telling himself that Angela's calmness was a sign of volcanic eruption. How long is this one going to last? Is she some kind of passing fancy, or are you telling me you are willing to accommodate my passing fancies? Uche, please, he cautioned himself silently. Do yourself a favor and shut up. About that lunch, I am ready to go, Uche. It is Eva, isn't it? And she has asked you not to bring me to her party. It is not Eva, and Mma is not a passing fancy. By then, nothing he did to compound the situation would surprise him. I have watched you go through many women, Uche. At the rate you do, I am not afraid for 1 second. She picked up her handbag and faced him with an icy smile. Shall we? Definitely. He led her out of the office and prayed for time to fly. A knock on her door brought her head up. Mma wondered who else it could be. She thought she had attended to everybody that needed her attention, and she was just about going off to her studio. "Come in," she called mildly, after getting a hold on her emotions. She watched as the door opened and Ken stepped in. "Still working?" Ken asked jovially. Mma was about to ask him what brought him when she remembered that they were supposed to have lunch together. "I can see you forgot our date," Ken said stiffly. "Of course I didn't," she laughed, and how correct he was. She forgot. She was so engrossed in her work that she didn't notice that time was flying. She stood up and hung her shoulder bag. "I was just trying to finish writing up this before I go to powder my nose and wait for you," she lied, smiling sweetly at him. Mma walked into the ladies, though she didn't really need to go into the ladies to do this. She just wanted some time alone to think about what she was going to tell him. Just seeing his face had unsettled her. She didn't want to hurt anybody. At the same time, she didn't want to hurt both of them by pretending she was feeling something she wasn't feeling. So today, she was going to tell him to look for someone else. Someone who deserved him better, she thought ruefully as she hastily freshened up. Placing a nice smile on her face, she walked back to her office and onto her lunch date. To her surprise, Ken chose a nice exclusive restaurant. It was not as if they hadn't eaten exclusive restaurants before, but all the other times were dinner. "What are we celebrating?" she asked as they entered the tastefully furnished restaurant. "You will soon find out," he answered, smiling contentedly. A waiter showed them to their table, and in a daze Mma took in all of this, still wondering what he had formulated in that brain of his. "I see I have succeeded in rattling you," Ken announced in open contentment. "I am just impatient to see the rest," she answered. "Let's order first, shall we?" he asked, indicating the menu. Mma picked up the menu and glanced through it. "Nice," she murmured. She chose a hearty meal of coconut rice with vegetable salad and stewed beef. Ken ordered a dikaikong soup with pounded yam and an expensive bottle of wine. Mma raised an eyebrow at this, wondering what exactly was going on. "How was work today?" Ken surprised her by asking instead. Mma looked at him. "Fine. I got there today and found plenty customers hovering around and demanding the attention of the cashier." She smiled proudly at him. "And that's all you care about, isn't it?" Ken asked. Mma was taken aback. The way he said it, as if she would sell her soul to the devil to have that kind of money repeat itself. She decided not to let him see he had hurt her. "I'm a businesswoman, Ken, and every business person would care for a continuous repetition of that very much, and I guess you would too. I have other priorities other than making money, like I think about what I'll be in the next 20 years. "That far?" She chuckled. "Most people probably think about what they would be in the next 5 years, but not Ken. His sense of reason was something she didn't bother about at all." She looked up and smiled at him. "So let's hear it, Ken. What will you be in the next 20 years?" "A proud father of an 18-year-old boy, at least. A husband with a nice business," he told her seriously. It was very okay if that was his dream, she thought, but she was way more ambitious than that. "So your turn. Where do you see yourself in the next 20 years?" Ken asked her. She was growing angrier by the minute. There was something about the tone of his voice that was very infuriating. 20 years is a long time for Mma to be recognized all over the world. Imagine Mma rubbing shoulders with Versace, Gucci, Armani, etc., she said dreamily. Whatever he was going to say was interrupted by the waiter as he placed their food on their table. "Don't you think about marriage at all?" Ken asked as he started eating. She was about to answer when someone familiar came in, and she immediately recognized him as the handsome man in her boutique that morning. She felt a stirring in her heart.
I think of you. My heart beats with every thought of you. You're the one I can't let go. In your arms I find my home. Love, sweet love, it's you I'm dreaming of every like a gift from